folks? So Tom Brady wins his 5th Super Bowl ring. Crazy. Just crazy. Can't take nothing away from the man, whether you like him or you hate him, whether you hate the Patriots or love the Patriots, whatever the case may be. You got to give him that credit. Tom Brady is probably the best quarterback we've ever seen. After that performance and what he did in that game in the second half, you got to give it up. Bill Belichick, obviously a great coach. But I wanted to give you my quick thoughts on the game. Real quick. I'm not going to keep you guys too long. I really wanted to make this specifically for, bitter Steelers fans. Guys that I got into it with, and of course, I got the Steelers hat on like always. But I wanted to definitely give my thoughts on what I saw in this game. Now, what happened early in the game? Man coverage was working. Atlanta comes out, they play tight man coverage. A lot of times they was in cover one. They did mix in zone from time to time, but they very rarely sent any blitzes. They were getting pressure with their front four. They were getting pressure. Dwight Freeney was getting back there. He did finally get a sack, but he was getting back there a lot in the game. Beasley, I forgot the other guy's name. I don't really know their team, but number 97, the dude I think that had 2 or 3 sacks. They were getting pressure. Right? And because they were getting pressure and you can run man and, play tight and bump and run and things like that, it does give you an advantage when you have pressure. As well as the Atlanta offense was lighting up the Patriots defense, right? So that's how they were able to go up real early. It was 21-0 at one point. I know one of them did come off a pick 6. That guy Alfred played a very well game. And a couple things stood out too. I did notice, even though they were being successful, they were getting a lot of holding calls called on them. Y'all remember that one series where it was like a holding call on this? I think it was 3-on-1 series, right? So it just goes to show you that these guys are still relatively young. They may not be the best corners in the world, but they came out with that strategy. Let's play them tight. Some were even saying maybe they meant to do that. Maybe they were giving up those holds on purpose. I don't know. But either way, you want to look at it. They came out with an aggressive mentality. It was working because the pressure was working. Now look at what happened when the pressure stopped getting there. Tom Brady was getting loose. Edelman was getting loose. The boy Mitchell got crazy loose. Amendola was getting loose. And of course, Martellus Bennett made a couple plays in the game. Particularly the last play, he gets the preferred matchup and, would cause that pass interference, and the next, the rest was history. But pretty much, that's what happened. Tom Brady was able to still be Brady. Keep in mind, even when the pressure was getting to him, he was getting hit. They was knocking him around. There were still opportunities where guys were open, and he missed some throws. I recall him missing like 2 or 3 throws to Edelman himself, just Edelman. And there was a couple other guys I think he missed here and there. But what I'm trying to point out, guys, and particularly in regards to Steelers fans, because all they kept saying, they kept criticizing the zone. Why are we in zone? Why are we in zone? Why don't we run man? You know why? The Steelers would have had the same thing done to them defensively, whether we were in man or in zone, because we don't even have that consistent of a pass rush. We definitely don't have it only sending 4 people. We don't have it. We just don't have that right now. Fans have to accept that, which I did. I've been saying the whole season that the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't have a secondary or a full defensive package that I was comfortable with. It is what it is. But it showed itself in this game. All right, the Atlanta defense wasn't that great, but they were very young. They're a very opportunistic group. They're fast. Those guys played pretty well. They did what they were supposed to. It was a great game plan by Dan Quinn and the boys. They came out there, got in their face. They got pressure. Dwight Freeney, ageless wonder. He's still getting pressure. But in the end, Tom Brady and them were able to make the proper adjustments. And the rest was history. The offensive line started protecting him. And every time that he had time, his man was beating the DBs. Every single time. Even in the first half, if you go back and watch. Every time Tom Brady had time, his guys were getting open. So it just goes to show you it wasn't going to happen, Steelers fans, regardless. As much as it hurt us that we lost, let's face it, our Steelers were not a Super Bowl team. But regardless, now you should be able to see the difference. You saw a game in the Steelers that they played primarily zone, which, and again, I feel like the reason why we did that is because the coaches know we don't really have that type of consistent pressure that's going to allow man to work, which we definitely need to start working on, by the way. And then you saw a game here in the Super Bowl where Brady was able to take advantage of man. Even against man, they had a couple bumps early. Like I said, pressure was getting there. But what's the problem with man coverage? When the pressure doesn't get there and the receiver is able to run his route cleanly and the quarterback has time to pass, most of the time you're going to get beat unless you have world-class, top-notch cornerbacks. That's the reason why we can all say there's only a handful of guys that you can say this dude is solid in man coverage or this dude is an elite corner in man coverage, and they get beat. That's just how it works. The receiver always has the advantage. So that should answer your questions, bitter Steeler fans. It wasn't going to matter. That team was not going to beat the New England Patriots. And I just got to say this before I end it. It ended up being a great game. At first I was like, wow, this is pretty one-sided. I wasn't expecting what I saw. But at the same time, I'm smart enough to know not to ever count out the New England Patriots. And they came back and won. You got to take your hats off to them. Now, let me address this as well. I know some people believe in the conspiracy theories. Hey, I told you guys this before. I'm a very intelligent person. I read and I keep my mind sharp, keep my third eye open. But when it comes to football, I just don't buy into it. This is why. Because the day that I really believe it, I won't watch football no more. And I'm a football fan. So to me, I'm going to hold out hope until the day actually comes when we officially find out, just like when that ref got caught in the NBA, calling games. So imagine something like that in the NFL comes out, the leak comes out, and they confirm that there were fixed games. Then I'll deal with it then. But until then, I'm gonna just let my mind live in this imaginary world and assume that it's not fixed. Because I won't be able to enjoy it when I really believe that in my gut. Because that's the type of person I am. I don't just watch something for entertainment. Like, once I really believe something and I'm confirmed in that, then that would be the end of that. And I ain't ready to stop watching football. So there you go. But anyway, man, it was a crazy game. But I just wanted to take time to make, those quick points. The man coverage didn't matter. It didn't matter. Mattered a little early. But once the offensive line was able to protect Brady, which again, same thing I said about the Steelers and man coverage in general, you have to get consistent pressure, which the Falcons were doing early, and you were seeing the effects of it. But like the Patriots do, they made some type of adjustment, and it is what it is. They won another title. I wanted to see the Falcons do it because they've never won, and oh well, what you gonna do? But all right, guys, that's just my quick assessment, man. As far as everything else, I'll just be waiting until next season. Football is over. That sucks, but it is what it is. It was a good game. That's really all I wanted to see. I wanted to see a great game, and it sucks to see it happen the way it did because the way the Falcons had it, in your heart, you kind of, with me not being a Falcons or a Patriots fan, in my heart, I kind of wanted them to win because they had it. They had the game under control. You know what I mean? So it hurts to see a team like that have it in your hand and then you just give it up. But it is what it is, man. They faced the GOAT tonight and the GOAT came away with the title. So there it is, guys. So that's all I got for you, man. Of course, when you see the screaming face appear on the screen, go ahead and click that to sub to the channel as well. Let me promise you again, it will never hurt you to hit that like button. And until next time, guys, let me know what you think. Peace.